So there's that. So what are we talking about today? I thought we would start to go through some of the old mixes that are already on there that you may not have noticed. And today we are talking about Second Wind. This was the mix I made directly before Eternal Darkness a couple months ago. And I have to admit, it's one of my favorites. So, what is it about? Well, it's a quest. The beginning of the mix has basically us following the Fellowship of the Ring and kind of drops us in right at Moria, which is where we get the Balrog scene, Gandalf dying, and Frodo having to decide, what are we going to do here? So far so good. You'd be like, well, so what? It's like the Lord of the Rings, right? Well, the thing about it is that instead of Frodo having one ring to destroy, he needs to find 3 other rings in order to defeat, the great evil at the end, which is not really defined. It's not Sauron. I used the track Shelob's Lair, so you could just say it's Shelob. So that's the basic premise. And so you're like, well, why is it even called Second Wind in the first place? Well, the first part of the mix is like Frodo really being just crapped on. Gandalf dies, he doesn't know what to do, talks to Galadriel, and, sorry, I don't even remember my own, my own mixes, and I can't even see anymore. So, alright, so then we go all the way up through the trial, and at that point, right after that, and the wall explodes, tear down the wall! And then he finds the power ring, the first of the 3 rings. And everything just starts to change from there. Then we get Second Wind, And the rest of the mix is basically just him, going through and gaining more power, more confidence. He finds the light ring eventually. And then he is called upon to face Shelob, or whatever, And it's interesting, because he cannot get the truth ring, the final ring, until he's faced the evil. So he doesn't even have all 3. And then it ends. I know it sounds... Yeah, like talking about it, I'm like, well, it doesn't really sound that interesting. But I really think that when you hear it musically, I think it is. Yeah, I think it is. If, you're like, well, that just sounds kind of stupid, Chris. And you're not really interested, I would at least ask that you check out the songs for the 3 rings, because I'm particularly proud of those. Especially the power ring and the truth ring. And especially the truth ring. I found that song, that's actually from the TV show Charmed. I find a lot of these like obscure things that I'm like, has anyone ever really heard this or paid attention to it? Well, trust me. Just so if you're like, whatever, Chris, whatever, at least listen to the rings, and maybe the track Second Wind, because that's from Super Mario Galaxy 2, and it is a doozy. So I think that's all I really have to say about it. I listen to it like every other, well, at least once a week, I'll like just put it on, and I don't know, it gives me hope. It's a hopeful sort of thing, and got some really pretty tracks in there. So that is the featured mix for this week. And that is all I have to say about it. So, oh, right. I tried to get the returning... I don't understand YouTube, because I tried to get the returning subscriber thing to, like, you know, show that playlist, and it's just being weird. So I featured it. It's, like, right up near the top. So you can find it easily if you want. Although I have another announcement to make. I'm going to wait. I'll do that on Saturday. Yeah, 'cause that's going to be funny.